authentic there. David Ryan, Superintendent of Schools.
Paul Bauer from Newfields, Vice Chair of the Board, Acting Chair for this evening.
Travis Thompson from Stratham.
Kathy McNeil from East Kingston.
Kimberly Meyer from Exeter.
Bill Gauthier from Exeter.
And our administrators.
Mike Monahan, Principal at Exeter High School.
Eris Hersey, Interim Principal at Cooperative Middle School. Sharon Wilson, Principal at Seco School of Technology.
Renee Bennett, Director of Student Services, SAU16.
Good evening, Ellen Riska, Assistant Director of Student Services.
Molly O'Keefe, the Director of Finance and Operations.
And Heather Murray, the Director of Human Resources.
Thank you all. And thank you to everyone in the audience for being here tonight. As you've noticed, our chairwoman, Helen Joyce, is not with us. Unfortunately, she fell ill today and is currently in the hospital, which is why I'm acting chair for this meeting. I just want to say to begin, we are all highly stressed right now. Parents, community members, board members, and administrators alike, staff as well. I truly believe that all of us are trying to do and want to do what we believe is best for the children of this SAU. And with that firmly in mind, I'm asking that this meeting be conducted with decorum and mutual respect on both sides. We want to hear what you have to say. We also need you guys to respect us and the fact that we need to conduct the meeting tonight. So please, let's do this with mutual respect, and we look forward to hearing from the community as always. With that, we'll begin our public input. The way this is going to be conducted, as you all know, when you came in, there's a sign-in sheet, and anyone who wished to speak signed up. We set aside in our meetings an hour for public input, and that is what we're doing tonight as well. We want to hear from as many people as we can. Obviously, with an audience of this size, we probably will not be able to hear from everybody who signed up. We have a 3-minute limit for each speaker, and we intend to go in the order of people who signed up. We do want to make sure that we can hear from people on various issues, not just one. Fortunately, looking at this list, it does appear that we've got a good mix in the beginning, which is fantastic. So I'll just ask you to please respect the time limit. I will not interrupt you, but I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up, and I'd ask that you please respect that when I let you know. With that, we'll begin with our first speaker, who is Sean Rusin from Exeter. And I should also say, if Mr. Rusin next to the microphone, just to be clear, only residents from the SAU16 towns are permitted to speak, which is why you had to indicate the town that you resided in. So if anyone did sign up and you're from a town outside of SAU16, I will not be calling you to the podium. But with that, Mr. Rusin, please go ahead.
Check. Sean Rusin, Exeter. I support the continuation of optional masks for all students and staff, for at least the start of the school year. And by the time I complete my comments, so will all of you. Based on past voting records, I predict the vote will be 7-2 in favor of a mask mandate. So in 3 minutes, I have to convince 3 of you to change your vote. Well, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to convince 7 of you to change your vote. To those of you who have brought up the American Academy of Pediatrics, tonight, or about to, I have one word for you: precedent. For months, when the AAP was saying it was safe for kids to be in school, you ignored them, so you can't listen to them now. You don't get to have it both ways. In regards to the CDC, I have 2 words for you: local control. Because what you did say is that you follow the local infection rates. So let's visit that, shall we? Hospitalizations, June 14th of the state of New Hampshire, 30. Yesterday, 28. Anyone want to guess how many cases Exeter had on June 14th? 1 to 4. Anyone want to guess what it was a couple days ago? 1 to 4. How many total positive tests in the last 14 days have occurred in Exeter. 5. Nothing has changed from when you voted 5-4 for optional masks. Let's look at influenza deaths over the last few years for the 18 and under population in the United States, per the CDC. 2017, 2018, 743. 2018 and 19, 477. 2019, 2020, 434. Now, COVID deaths. United States, since the pandemic began, 18 months, 331. And for 12 months, there wasn't a vaccination like there's always been for influenza. But I'll take it one step further. Data that came out less than 2 weeks ago, the CDC is reporting 0 deaths in anyone under 18 if you have 0 underlying conditions nationwide for the entire pandemic. So, reclaim my time. So this is the portion of the night where you ask, oh, what about the Delta variant? So let me close with a few Delta stats. You said you based your decision on local data.
Mr. Pearson, it has been 3 minutes, we're asking you to please wrap up.
So how many cases of the Delta variant have been reported in the entire state of New Hampshire? 14. What countries have the best data on Delta? India and the United Kingdom.
Mr. Pearson, your 3 minutes are expired.
He can have my time.
No, we said 3 minutes, it's been 3 minutes.
He can have my time.
I'll give him my 3
We're not
minutes.
using time. The next speaker is Representative Pat Rami from Stratham.
Well done. Well done.
A colleague of mine in New York.
Mr. Pearson.
You said you would interrupt.
I said in 3 minutes, we're done.
I will give him my 3 minutes.
Dictator.
Starting on the wrong foot.
3 minutes.
Give me 45 seconds.
Mr. Pearson, your 3 minutes are up.
Whoa! Someone else gave him respond. Free speech.
Here's my comment. This is what happens when you don't want to hear the real data. A colleague of mine in New York wrote to me this weekend. She's a physician assistant. She says, hey, Sean, you know that Delta variant is 225% more contagious. I corrected her. It's actually higher. It's about 250% more contagious. But it's 1/10 as deadly. Their vaccination rate in the UK is about 65 to 70%. Are cases rising in the unvaccinated? Yes. Of course it is. It's more contagious. But what about hospitalizations and deaths? Not happening. Let's compare that to India. India is getting crushed by Delta, or they were. Why? You know what their vaccination rate is in India? 7%. On May 7th, they were averaging 414,000 cases per day. On July 29th, that was down to 41,000. Why? It burned itself out. In other words, what are they building over there? Like no one's business. Herd immunity. Their cases are plummeting, but no one's vaccinated. Here's the first summary. Precedent. Sorry, you don't get the site recommendations from the AAP. Between the last school board meeting and this one, all the local numbers are the same or better. 14 New Hampshire Delta tests total. Vaccines protect you 95% from the original strains, 88% from the Delta variant, and New Hampshire has one of the highest vaccine rates in the country. Nearly all SAU16 teachers are vaccinated. We're going to be just fine here. We should be more worried about influenza with kids than COVID. Masks are a tiny mitigation strategy that produces more harm than good in kids. You have the right to mask and vaccinate your kid if that is what you feel safe with them. The difference between me and you is that I support any parent who wishes to mask and or vaccinate their child, as well as the parent who doesn't.
Right.
Give parents some respect by giving them choice. Be supportive, not divisive. Be inclusive, not tyrannical. They're not your kids.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Neil Blight, and I live in Exeter with my family. We have one son's going into the 5th grade this fall, and others going into the 8th grade. And 3 quick points.
I'm sorry, I called on, Mr. Blake, I'm sorry, I called on Aunt Al Bandera from Kensington.
Thank you. Apologies. Sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. First, I wanted to say just thanks. I think the school boards, Dr. Ryan and his team, all of our administrators, teachers, and staff, and especially our healthcare providers and first responders, they did a fabulous job in an incredibly difficult time. It was outstanding, it was very tough. There's no dialogue for this, so we really appreciate it. Second, science has learned a lot about COVID-19 in the last year and a half. Some studies were just recently released, and my wife and I sent as many board members as we could find an email for a study led by Duke that looked at the experience of 1.28 million K-12 students in North Carolina and reviewed all of the scientific data in the world. The CDC guidance and the AAP guidance is partially based on this work. They had one clear conclusion. If you want to stop the spread of COVID-19 in schools, short of the vaccination, wearing a mask was the single most effective strategy. It also lets you get back to full in-person learning, and you can fill a bus, bring people to a seat. Lastly, my request is this. Exeter and SAU16 are well respected for academic excellence and athletic achievement. But what we're really known for, that sets us apart from the crowd, is our consistent and intentional commitment to placing the interest in our school community ahead of all others. We are in the midst of a global health crisis that has killed over 4 million people. This should never have become a political crisis, but in many ways it is. Please place the health and well-being of our kids and our school community first by requiring masks worn in school, especially in grades where children are ineligible vaccine that is under 12. Thank you.
I swapped. No, Sarah Michelle from Stratton is the next on our list.
No, I just swapped with that gentleman.
Oh,
You called him out of order, and I said, you take my time.
you're Al Bandera?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to go in a different direction, and I heard what that gentleman was talking about in excellence in education. That's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight. Can you explain to me, I know Miss Joyce is not here, but perhaps you can. How do we go from 13th to 38th place? How does this school, SAU16 as a district, lose its excellence? What happened? Can you explain that to me?
As you all should be familiar, when we have public comment, we don't have a back and forth. It's an opportunity for the members of the community to come
Be
and express their
responsive.
opinions.
That's your duty.
We
Yeah.
talked about mutual respect and decorum in this meeting. Let's do
No.
that. Let's do
We
that.
have a right for
Mr. Van Dalen, please
responses
continue.
from our board members that we
please continue.
So my question, there was more a question, and I didn't know that you were unable or unwilling to answer it. But I think it's a really important aspect of why we're all here. In light of all the things that are going on, it's almost like a distraction. We're not paying attention to really what's happening to us. Taxpayers are paying top dollar for education of our children, and we're going from 13 to 38. Something else is going on.
Sharon Stratton.
How about an answer? You people are supposed to be responsible, read out the way of the Constitution, first the Bill of Rights. Are you people really? This is an insult.
Hi, I'm Sharon Moldick, and I live in Stratham. I'm going to be reading a statement from my husband, John Moldick, who's attending the Enhanced Police Academy. My grandchildren live with us in Stratham. This is Hadley. I'm here to present an introduction and an overview of the concerns we have as parents, grandparents, and guardians of the children who attend school districts that comprise SAU16. I've done my research, I've talked to many people. I care about facts. I care about understanding the way things are and how they exist in time, space, and reality. It is my conclusion in this space, currently, the reality is that our children and grandchildren are receiving a substandard public education.
That's right.
This is not change. And you're all about, you have the power to change it. We have the proof in their test scores, their competency skills, graduation rates, and facts. Our middle school ratings statewide dropped from 8 to 38, as Al stated, and our high school from 8 to 13. We have the proof in our observations during the COVID lockdown. Our public education is trending in the wrong direction. From here, we can make our schools the best. Not the best if, not the best when, but the best starting now.
Right.
Let's be clear. We don't blame the teachers. We don't blame the students. We blame ourselves for not paying attention. And that ends now. We are paying attention. The school board does not work for the superintendent. The school board works for us.
That's
the
right.
We seek accountability. We will hold you responsible. We want transparency and we want the truth.
Right.
We want to stop politicizing our children's education. We want to work together because nothing is more important than our children and our grandchildren. We are here this evening to demand that our school board members work for us. We are here to demand our school board members put our students first, support the parents, and ensure our teachers have everything they need to do their job. We are here to empower school board members to ensure that they know that they do not work for the superintendent, but for us, the parents and guardians of our children.
Right.
We believe there is plenty of money to support public education. We believe teachers are paid well. We believe the infrastructure is above average. Money in education does not make education better without other factors. This includes qualified teachers, a safe and secure learning environment, involved parents, as you can see we are involved, quality academic curriculum, a learning environment that supports respect for all, and a community that supports education.
Ms. Bolduc, 15 minutes to expire.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Peter Lessel Stratton.
Actually, didn't plan this. So, but I'd like to start by supporting Max and supporting vaccinations. I'm vaccinated. I was wearing a mask when the CDC in the beginning was saying not to. But I support people who want a mask. I support teachers who want a mask. I support parents who want to mask their children. I do not support people who want to mask my children. So if you guys want to pay for my kids' college education, I'm willing to talk about it. For that, they'll take a year of mask, okay? But if not, I am not okay with you telling me I have to mask my child. If you want to and I can choose to do that. If the data changed, I would mask my kids. I like my kids. Want to see them around, I would mask them. That is my choice. And if if you believe that vaccines are effective, the teachers are already safe. If the teacher also wants to mask, God bless. Nobody should criticize them. They can be vaccinated and masked. I'm fine with it. But if you believe masks are not effective, why the hell are you pushing my kid to wear one? If you believe they are effective, why does my child need to wear a mask? Have your kid wear a mask? Great. And I will tell my kids, I do not want to hear you saying word one at somebody else's mask. I think that's completely their choice. But that is their parents' choice, not your choice. Now, here's my direct ask. If you're going to institute masks, we didn't have enough data before, we do now. I want you to say, we're masking because COVID, for children and teachers, is X% more dangerous than the flu. Because we have enough data to know that right now. And the answer is that for children and for vaccinated adults, it is significantly less dangerous than the flu. And I'm somebody who got driven insane in the meeting when people would say it was the flu. It was not the flu. It was the flu if we had never seen it. It was killing people. So I'm not a big fan of it when it wasn't. But in children, it is less than the flu. We had 0 deaths throughout all of COVID, even when we didn't know how to treat it. Under 18 and under, actually under 19 in New Hampshire, we've had 0 deaths from COVID. 0. We have about 10 children every year commit suicide. We have kids die from the flu. We don't have kids die from COVID. If you force kids into masks, the one thing I do not want to hear anymore from schools is social and emotional. I don't want to hear anybody saying you care about your kids' social and emotional. If you want masks, mask up. If parents want masks, mask up. I'm all for it. But you don't get to decide what my children do.
That's right.
Mike Thompson from East Kingston.
Somebody on deck.
This is Mike Thompson from East Kingston. No? Sand Island, Brentwood?
Hi, Todd Riley, Brentwood. Dad, we stepped down to a lot of kids in the district. I think a lot of us walked in here tonight thinking there was no path to unity. We've heard so much going on throughout the beginnings of this since last March, of people making power grabs and fear-mongering. All of a sudden, neighbors are turning against neighbors, and people are trying to tell everybody what they're supposed to do, like, we can't read reports from the CDC, the same reports everyone else is looking at today. So how do these towns become actually unified instead of this constant division? Because that's what I'm concerned about. Yeah, I'm concerned about masks. I saw the last day of school. Many of you did not, frankly, because you don't have the kids who got on the bus that morning. The joy of those buses. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you had a kid. And they came home from school, and it was more energy and enthusiasm about school than I had seen in 15 months. And I thought, this is it. This is the power of change right now And we can grab this and hold on to this, and kids are going to be excited about being back together and learning together. And so many people were so anti this and anti that. You know what I'm anti? I'm anti anybody taking the choices away that belong to the parents. You can talk to me about masks. You can talk to me about critical race theory, and I could do a 4-hour talk on it right now with you. Y'all don't want to hear that. My wife does. She shuts me down like that. But she's smart. She's smart. Critical race theory, imposing masks on people, is not staying in your lane. It's not. I started a t-shirt company a couple years ago. It bombed. It wasn't in my lane. It wasn't what I do. Okay? We're doing too much in school. I am a follower of Jesus. Critical race theory opposes that. I demand time in the schools for every minute that is discussed. And if I hear the word whiteness from any of my children in this school, I demand time in that classroom to come in and speak my truth about being a follower of Jesus and what that looks like. Is a religion. We simply do not study the 5 tenets of critical race theory. We simply are uninformed. I would ask you today to make it about traditional education again, for the sake of my children, and give them a first day of school that empowers, excites children to get on buses and get together and do their thing. Honestly, the choice isn't really yours, because there could be 1,000 students that show up regardless of what you do the first day of school without masks on. So what are we going to do if that happens? If everyone in the community,
please wrap up.
if everyone in the community makes that decision. Sorry, Patrick, somebody else. I just want to say this. The only path to unity is empowering the parents to make the decisions. Give us options. Don't tell us what to do.
Amen.
And Slayton from Exeter, please.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, God. It's so nice to hear such strong voices tonight that kind of express kind of a lot of what us parents have been scared to say. I have a lot on the line here. I have 3 children that are all going to be in CMS next year. I am also an occupational therapist. I proudly work for the Rockingham VNA and Hospice right here in the Exeter Hospital Group. I have kept quiet because I have a lot to lose, you know. I know how to play the game, you know, politically, but when it comes to my kids, I'm all in, okay? I had one of the worst years in terms of COVID, okay? I am currently, you know, recovering from, you know, working in a highly stressful work environment, you know, going to people's homes, fully masked, fully shielded, etc., right? And dealing with 3 kids that I had to keep at home and intermittently having to keep my personal cell phone on during those home visits because there would be a child freaking out every other day, you know, because they had to manage schooling at home because both of the parents at home had to work outside of them. So now we fast forward to a child of mine that was in crisis for mental health reasons. Mental health reasons that I think were exasperated because of the COVID crisis and the isolation. I was in the Exeter ER 4 times, and Hannah Jace as well. I do not wish anything that I went through this past year to happen to any of the parents in this room or beyond this room. What I have learned through a lot of good support and fortitude and just returning to life, my daughter is now successfully thriving. She is going to camp. She just finished summer school at CMS, all mask-free, happily with her friends, happily engaged in life. I, as a parent, share this because I don't want to see this go backwards. I don't. You know, I have a lot to say on the other topics that Thad mentioned too, but I'll save that for later. I respect every parent's choice in this room to mask or not mask your child, but I would like to be given that respect to make that choice for my kids.
Josh McCool,
Thank you, Treasurer. I'm somewhat confused as to where we are today. I'm concerned that we are in a society that no longer cares about each other. I heard Mr. Riley refer to unity by letting every individual have their own decision. That's not unity, that's not society.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
let him speak.
In a society, you come together for the greater good. You make sacrifices where necessary, and you rally together for a common purpose. Okay? That's not what's happening here. So, I'm going to go ahead and say what I came to say. The most important public health action to end the pandemic remains increasing vaccination coverage, which saves lives, prevents illness, and reduces the spread of COVID-19. Effective COVID-19 prevention strategies are well documented and can help reduce community transmission until high vaccination coverage is achieved. Long-term effects of COVID-19 remain unknown, and therefore effective transmission prevention is required to ensure the continued health and safety of our children, faculty, and administrators. I urge you to use nationally recognized science-based sources to make informed decisions regarding the return to school this fall. Guidance will continue to change as we approach the start of school. However, given the current community transmission levels as moderate with increasing test positivity rates, it's critical we make preparations to start the school year with the expectation that all students and staff should wear face masks at school, unless medically or developmentally conditions prohibit otherwise. All policy
Let
considerations
him
for school
speak. Decorum, people.
should
Come on.
start with the goal of keeping students safe and physically present in school. By implementing a layered transition prevention strategy, which includes the use of masks, we position ourselves to best avoid the possibility of needing to return to remote learning. It's fortuitous that 10 minutes before I walked into this hall, I received an email from work. Work has reinstituted a face mask mandate for all employees. Okay? This is to do the right thing for their employees, their staff, and to prevent transmission spread. There's no difference between my employer telling me to wear a mask and our school system telling our students and staff to wear masks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time and consideration. Thank you, Roberts.
Chair, point of order, please. May I make a suggestion that you read the name of the next speaker so that we don't lose half a minute between people walking up here, please?
Andrew Roberts, Kensington.
Someone on that.
Hi. First, I want to take this opportunity to thank the board for their service to our children and our communities and institutions within SAU16. Second, I want to touch briefly on a couple of hot issues tonight that a lot of people already have been talking about. First, I'm grateful that the SAU is putting weight behind its commitment to teaching children diverse perspectives and viewpoints by actually hiring the diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice specialists. And I'm looking forward to the other aspects.
Let me speak. Mutual respect. You haven't been interrupted when people have been speaking. Don't interrupt others. Please continue.
So I'm looking forward to these upcoming information sessions to learn more about how these staff members will be engaging with the SAU educational activities. And second, I likewise trust that by consulting with a broad range of public health experts and information available, that the SAU is going to formulate a reasonable mask policy, whether that's parental choice, whether that's requiring it for everybody. I think you guys are going to make a good choice. This isn't a political issue, it's a public health issue. So, that's that. But third, and the reason that I really wanted to come down here tonight is to encourage transparency and communication on behalf of the board. And I certainly have received information about what's going on in school and things like that. But what worries me is that in my town, in Kensington, there's a misinformation campaign underway. And we received letters, anonymous letters, that were worded in a way to foment anger and hostility against SAU16, the administration in particular. They were full of lies and kind of ridiculous allegations, like SAU16 administration was requiring the teachers to teach critical race theory to the children and to hide this fact from the parents. So these letters have been mailed to people throughout Kensington, some even hand-delivered. And what concerns me when I look at these letters, I've received 2, other people in my family have received others, that there's commonalities among the letters. There's commonalities in talking points, there's commonalities in vocabulary choice. And this leads me to wonder if there was perhaps an organization from outside the district who's chosen to target SAU16, an organization that has no left turn in education.
Ask him to stand up.
It is hypothetical, it's speculation, but look. That's a concern. It's concerning that an organization from outside the district has been coaching residents to use lies and fear mongering to generate hostility.
That's a lie right there. That's a lie.
This is his time.
You don't know, so how can you say that?
Respect people. Come on.
So, my concern, whether these people that are letters are from where, or whether they're my neighbors next door, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether my
Your 3 minutes is expired. Please wrap up.
3 minutes over.
Fear mongering and lies have no place in decision making. And the way to combat fear mongering and lies is sunshine, transparency, and communication. Thank you.
Mr. Diaz, Kensington. Mr. Diaz from Kensington.
He's not understanding what he says.
ID Hanson from Stratton.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
I just said it. You're not at a football game. Decorum and mutual respect, please.
My name is Dr. Michelle Diaz. I'm an emergency medicine physician. I work at many of our local emergency rooms. I'm sure I've taken care of some of you. I've been on the front lines of this pandemic, and I can assure you that COVID is not a lie. It is a deadly disease, and we need to take it seriously. Thank you, all of you who've been vaccinated. That is the way that we will all get out of this. Thank you. And those who haven't, look at your neighbors. They're fine. Nobody's face fell off. Get the vaccine.
This is her time.
I just want to say that I want to echo the thoughts of my husband, who he and I are both very concerned about this seemingly this anonymous misinformation campaign that's occurring in our town. Maybe it's occurring in your towns too. I also would like to say that I'm sure that the SAU16 will make appropriate decisions about the necessity for face masks based on current data, meaning what are the case laws, what are the hospitalization rates. If we don't need the masks, we don't need them, but we may need them. And if we need them to keep everybody safe, we should wear them. Masks are like seatbelts and motorcycle helmets. People will not wear them unless compelled to in many cases. And unfortunately, those things save lives. So if we can save some lives by wearing masks, however uncomfortable they are, we should do that. It's pretty easy. And lastly, I would like to say, please teach critical race theory. It is important.
From Stratham, Joseph, and the others from Stratham will be next. I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
So I agree with a lot of what the previous speaker said, and I disagree with one other thing. In our family, Grandpa's a little old guy who's always willing to dispense wisdom. He's pretty stuck in his ways, though, and he's definitely not interested in driving down the information highway. He has no interest in cell phones, and quite emphatically will say things like, "Do we really need virtual reality? Isn't real reality sufficient?" But he realized many years ago that to relate to his grandkids, he needed to understand what their interests are. And that's when the word Nintendo entered his vocabulary. Later, when the grandkids got a Wii or an Xbox or PlayStation, it didn't matter. Everything is a Nintendo. The kids humored him, and they didn't mind him calling their state-of-the-art game consoles by some outdated name. But things got a little more awkward when he saw someone with an iPad, or a Kindle, or an Apple TV box. If it's squarish and has wires coming out of it, for someone like him who doesn't really understand all these high-tech gadgets, it's a Nintendo. Everything is a Nintendo. A catch-all word for technology he doesn't really understand. Critical race theory, or CRT, has recently become a catch-all phrase for people who it seems to me really don't understand much about the intersection of education and issues about race, equity, and inclusion. An example of this is this flyer that came through the mail from an anonymous group. They lumped together CRT and DEIJ as though they're just anonymous terms. Of course, they're not. CRT is an extremely nuanced legal theory discussed mostly in law school or at the postgraduate level. But the people behind this flyer don't care about nuance or legal theory. For them, mentioning anti-racism or unconscious bias training automatically means CRT. Everything is CRT, and CRT is bad, or so they want you to believe. My children have been attending SAU16 schools for the past 10 years, and I can tell you that diversity, equity, and inclusion are concepts that have always been part of their school day in age-appropriate ways. Always. Mostly these concepts boil down to kindness, being kind to others, and accepting people for who they are. CRT is not a book, it's not a belief system, and it's certainly not something that's being taught in our schools here in Kansas. If you're using the phrase critical race theory in discussions about diversity, equity, and inclusion, you're either willfully ignorant or you're willfully misleading, and I implore you, please don't be either of these things. Please just be kind. Our children are watching and listening.
My comments will be very short. I want to thank you for sending this to me. I've lived in this community for 40 years. I grew up in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, in a very multicultural environment in the 50s. And this brought to my attention that even though my girls are all in their 30s and 40s and now I have grandchildren, the issues that I lived with as a child are coming back. And I'm not here to criticize anyone, but I'm a thinker, and I'm wondering the implementation strategy if this board and this community elects to follow something in some way CRT. I don't even know what it means, and I've got a master's degree and beyond that. The lady that just spoke was very eloquent in that we have to be careful of what we get if we think we're being leaders in implementation of CRT when we really don't know what it means and understand. It's an acronym. Okay, the last thing I want to say to you is I have had very heavy discussions with friends of mine who are teachers. I'm a military man. I'm a 40 years in the military. Mandating things is very difficult. But what I am worried about, and when I read in the Wall Street Journal and online, is there's a lot of people who are biased one way or the other, some of which are teachers, some of which are the people who will develop the curriculum for what we call CRT in Exeter, whatever that ends up being. My fear is, how do you take out, and I'll sit down after this, how do you take out the bias of the teachers who are going to have to teach the premises and theories of CRT? Thank you.
Michael Griffin from X-Ray.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, Mr. Chair, I will first speak to why the education statutes were modified by a section entitled Prohibition of Teaching Discrimination. This was within the Budget Trailer Bill, House Bill 2. The bill has 4 tenets, with 2 key ones as follows. Schools are prohibited from teaching that one identified group, a group based on age, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, race, creed, color, etc., is inherently superior or inferior to people of another identified group, meaning you cannot teach all whites are superior to blacks. And the second tenet is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. Cannot teach all whites are racist. This bill was necessary because of what the New Hampshire legislature saw going on in schools around the country. And many of which were overtly teaching critical race theory, or CRT, disguised in many cases as diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. Yes, we need to define terms clearly. It's something that we're not going to do tonight, but we do need to define terms here. This theory, and it only is an academic theory, says that our laws and legal institutions are inherently racist. That's what critical race theory is. So, the majority of the legislature, many here in SAU16 parents find this offensive. This is 2021, not 1949 when I was born. We've come a long way in bringing the races together in my lifetime, and I'm so proud of what we've accomplished as a society. Also disturbing was that this theory was built on critical legal studies, an offshoot of Marxist critical theory. So please understand that. Many blacks have spoken against CRT, like Dr. Ben Carson, who grew up poor in inner city Detroit, with no father, but a mother who cared, making him read a book a week. He grew up to be one of the world's top pediatric neurosurgeons. He worked at Johns Hopkins University Hospital. Dr. Carson, in fighting this blatantly racist ideology, said, "We cannot allow CRT to rob American children of that same hope that was instilled in me." Despite some distortions in the media, this bill allows the teaching of all history, both good and bad. We want to teach about the inequities in our society in years past. No one's saying we don't, even though some people spoke on the floor that was going to be the case. Now, and by the way, board members, read the bill and read the summary of the bill put out by the Department of Education, Commission on Human Rights, and Department of Justice.
So your 3 minutes have expired, if you could please wrap up.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I knew that was going to happen. I'd like to submit the remainder of my remarks to be distributed to the board members. Is that okay?
Certainly.
Thank you. I do want to say one more thing, though. I urge everybody, there's going to be a meeting on August 19th of the board of the school, start discussion on what we're going to be teaching in this regard. I think it's important that all parents show up at this so that your input can be heard. by the administration of the schools. It's very important that we have our input. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Michael Wilson from Exeter, Liz McConnell from Brentwood will be next.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. I do appreciate all the work that you people do on the stage. I know this has been a tough year for you guys. As far as critical race theory, I have a lot to learn on this critical race theory. I come from a technical background when it comes to little lots. I still have a lot to learn, but the thing I have seen is that critical race theory, it seems to cause division and it seems to cause racism. People split up into different races, and that seems kind of strange, and it doesn't seem to be productive. Also, as far as masks go, especially that first fellow that was up here seemed to have a lot of facts, and from what I've seen, kids unaffected, and it seems that there's more detrimental things that happen with kids wearing masks. So that seems like kids shouldn't wear masks.
James Goodwin from Brentwood will be next.
So much for saving time, I'm sorry. I can't get that done. So, Liz McConnell from Brentwood. As has previously been mentioned, I do believe our school board works for us. After all, we elected you. And I want to let you all do your job, research the issues, and come to conclusions after hearing input, as we are doing here tonight. I can do without the cat calls and all of that, but you are hearing input tonight from your constituents and voters. As for tonight, the disrespect that continues to be shown and has been constant and unrelenting, and I'm hearing it as I speak now, is disappointing. We are in a community together and in a different situation with COVID. In a society, we come together for a common good. I expect our board to weigh all information and science and come to thoughtful conclusions. Excuse me, you're not speaking, I am speaking. I signed up for this.
Yeah, you know!
And to respond to Representative Abrami, there is no correlation between DEIJ and critical race theory. And if you wanted to pass a bill in the legislature, you, as a legislator, should know that hiding it in the budget bill is not the usual procedure. Stand up for what you believe. Don't hide from your constituents. Thank you so much, and keep up the good work.
Before we continue, I just want to give you all fair warning. We have 10 minutes remaining in public input. James Goodwin from Brentwood is up now, and Sorber from Exeter will be next.
Hi, I missed I was out of the room when I was called, Mike Thompson.
Are we on? I just want to ask you a quick question. I apologize for interrupting. And I apologize for everyone. I was 5 minutes late. My time is no more valuable than yours. So I just want to start by apologizing. I noticed that you had mentioned that we had 10 minutes left. I'm assuming that we're doing an hour.
Correct.
And I was concerned that that might happen. I just wanted to speak up regarding that because I am the one that spoke up with Helen a couple of months back requesting this meeting. I'd actually requested it in July, and it was to be just really to discuss masks. And now when I received the agenda, I saw quite a lengthy agenda and a typical board meeting. I'd like to ask, with all that is going on, I'd like to ask that we continue to let people speak and we hear them out because they don't have any other.
Our normal process is to have 1 hour of public input. And as I announced before you arrived, that's what we're going to do.
A little later.
Decorum. Sir, will you stop interrupting, please? This isn't a football game. Thank you for...
What you did before with the questions and answers. And the answers
Sir.
Horrible!
Remember when we talked about mutual respect? Please be capable of that. Please. Sir, you are interrupting a meeting in public. I'm going to ask you to stop.
No! You lines out with vote!
Sir, mutual respect. Wow.
So, Paul, if I may address you, as I stated, it was my wish, my intent when I discussed it for this to be regarding masking, and I guess it's evolved into CRT at this point in time. We don't typically have a meeting in August anyway. We wait until September. I'm asking if we could please put some of these items aside. Maybe there are some items, I know we have nominations that we definitely can't put aside. But I'd like to ask if we go. I don't know how many people you have signed up. For all I know, it could be half an hour, it could be another hour, but I brought the peanut M&Ms and I'm in for the long haul, so I'd like to make a motion, please, to let everyone who signed up to speak, please.
But first address your comments as far as any of this can be pushed aside. I can't answer that, of course. So we need to hear from Dr. Ryan as to whether any of the items can be pushed aside.
I second that motion. Board, vote, represent the people who elected you. Mr. McConnell just said we elected you. Represent us.
Yes, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? And I guess I would ask you, Melissa, with your pending motion, do you have a specific amount of time in mind that you want to set aside so that we can get through our voting?
You guys are not voting. So I want everyone that signed up to have a chance to speak. So you have the list in front of you. I don't know how many people it is, times 3 minutes each. We'll do the math. But yes, I'm willing to sit here. I'm willing to come out another night. I'm coming out again for Brentwood in 2 weeks and do the PIJ meeting. So no more. So I'm here.
So I counted there's 17 more people listed. 17. So I'm not mad.
Oh, that's the result of summons for. He doesn't do the math. He cannot do the math with 20 is being an hour. He cannot do the math without his calculator. You want to elect this?
Let's finish the list. 17 people on there. Yeah. Let's finish the list.
Okay. All in favor of allowing everyone on the list to speak, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye. No abstentions. Motion passes 7-1. We'll hear from everybody on the list.